Hey everyone, welcome back to another Poem Master video, and it's been a while since we've done one of these as well, so, anniversary, let's do it, right? So, move candy list, or dupe list, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's a lot of ways to refer to this as, but basically, which limited unit specifically, because again, we're not really going to go over spotlight units. Eventually, folks would very, very likely get, if you play the game long enough, you will 3 out of 5 most, if not all, spotlight units in the game. So it takes a while, but you'll generally get there. So yeah, mostly limited units. And in terms of the limited units, how many copies do you want, right? In terms of pulling through 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5, or candying them, depends on you, right? So I'm not gonna go over the ones that we've done before. If you wanna check the ones before, you could check the previous video, right? So yeah, again, the few categories is units that absolutely want 3 out of 5, right? I mean, Champion Dire is a very, very good example of that. At 1 out of 5 and 3 out of 5 is just a completely different unit, right? Then there's also units that want at least 2 out of 5, but get much better at 3 out of 5. There are units that definitely want 2 out of 5 at least, but doesn't really need that 3 out of 5. Units that are fine at 1 out of 5, but would like 3 out of 5. These units kind of depend. Some units are just really, really powerful. Like, they get really nice stuff at 3 out of 5, but they're like already like overkill at 1 out of 5. You don't really need it. And some units just don't have like that much at the 3 out of 5, right? Even if they're maybe not that powerful. So again, it really depends. Then you have units that are fine at 1 out of 5, but would like 2 out of 5. And then there's units that are just fine at 1 out of 5. These could also just be, just fine at like 1 out of 5 units. Or actually, no, these are mostly just units that don't have good grids. Let's be real. Anyway, so I did split them by role, so it's easier, right? I mean, people don't have that many general candy. Usually, they just use their support, striker, or tech candies, right? So, anyways, let's get into this, I guess. So, let's start from the supports up here. All right, starting from SC Lily. SC Lily is really like a convenience thing if you first think about it, but I honestly do feel like SC Lily, you kind of really want that 3 out of 5, because 3 out of 5 you get all ramped up, so make sure that you don't need MP refresh on your trainer move to max out special attack, but you also do get crit squad on your trainer move, and even though she can buff crit with focus group passive by using Astonish, you don't want to really spend that many turns, right? Because you're gonna double T time, and then Astonish, that's +1 crit and +4 special attack. In comparison to 3 out of 5, you get, double T time already gives you +6 special attack and +2 crit. So instead of getting +1 crit, +4 special attack in 3 turns, that's before sync, right? You're getting +6 special attack and +3 crit. So it seems like a convenience thing, because you can get to those same stat buffs at 2 out of 5, right, with the MP refresh, but it just takes a lot more turns, and if that's the case, then she's just not as good as some other units, right, some other special buffers. So I feel like you kind of really want that 3 out of 5, even though it seems more like a, just makes your life easier thing, but no, not really. I feel like it really does change the unit drastically, and also you get stuff like aggravation on Astonish, which is fantastic as well, and yeah, some other nice stuff. Revenge boost 9, right? So, all right. Moving on next, Ho-Oh and Shiny Ho and Morty. So this is let me just filter this real quick. So this is a unit that you feel like you already got all your stuff at 1 out of 5, right? You got your Sun here, you got your crit buffs and Sun here as well, like your defensive stuff, whatever. Team Sunbathe, do you really need 3 out of 5? I would say yes. I feel like 3 out of 5 Ho-Oh versus 1 out of 5 Ho-Oh is very, very, very different. Although his 2 out of 5 also has some nice things like dashing team over here, some potion stuff, whatever, MP refresh on sunny day. But 3 out of 5 gives you a lot of great things. Team give me 5 first of all, right? So instead of buffing stats by 1, you get stats by 2, which is a big difference, because there's a lot of units that buff their stats by 4, not a lot of units that buff them by 5, right? So that extra 1, even though it doesn't seem like that much, is a lot. You also get vigilance, which is not that big of a deal. I mean, you could lucky cookie it, but I mean, if you do pick it up, saves you a lucky cookie that you could spend on something else. Not that there's a lot of things that you could really run lucky cookies on him, but you know, still. Adrenaline's also a really, really big one, right? That shaves you off, you know, or at least saves you from trying to go for a quad Q after you sink. So that's really, really nice as well. These are alright. They're not like that big of a deal. These aren't that big of a deal either, but it's just these two up here I feel like are really, really, really a huge, huge, huge difference. Can you survive with Ho without these two? I'd say yeah, but I feel like these are really, really big nodes that are really warranted to go to 3 out of 5 for, right? Alright, moving on. Next one to SS Chris over here. SS Chris, so at 1 out of 5, you don't really have anything. So let's see, does 2 out of 5 get you much better things? You do have some decent things, like Team Swift reactions, definitely really, really nice for the speed. Staggering 2 is decent, right? But again, you do get a lot of really, really, really good stuff at 3 out of 5. This one straight up gives you an extra special move up next, right? Which is huge. Rain Dance Catalyzing Infliction is huge as well, right? Move gauge acceleration, because her speed buffs are relatively slow and not as reliable, so I feel like this is really, really huge. MP Refresh on Rain Dance is big too, so I think this is also a no-brainer. 3 out of 5 that you really, really want to go for. Moving on to Hilda. So Hilda, for those of you who pulled her, which congratulations if you did, but yeah, anyways, I feel like you kind of want 3 out of 5 for her as well, because or else you don't really get too many great buffs. Most of her buffs are really at 3 out of 5, whether it's Flag Bearer. It is slow, but it is a buff. You have Team Sharp entry, right? Propulsion maybe be useful, maybe not. This Bamboozling Retaliation and Disarming Retaliation, I feel like these are the two big ones, right? These are the two big ones that could turn her into a double defense debuffing unit from a rather unuseful support into something actually really, really nice, right? With the 2 defense debuffs. You also get some other stuff. Impervious is nice. Single sync reload is alright. It's not that big of a deal because topsy-turvy, I really don't see using it too much, but you know, if you ever do need extra. Team Fist Bump is alright. So she is pretty much a 3 out of 5 too, I feel. Moving on to Latios here. This is looking like another 3 out of 5. Look, do you, like, for the basic Latios stuff, do you really need him at 3 out of 5? Not really, right? I feel like he's more in line with Silver. He doesn't, like, change drastically, right? But he does get much, much easier to use with stuff like Team Sharp entry, which turns him into a +1 crit buffer into a +3 crit buffer, right? On top of that, you have Adrenaline 1. Again, don't have to quad Q there. Impervious Free Sync for all is really, really good as well. So it is a pretty big difference. Doesn't mean he's like completely unusable at 1 out of 5. I don't really feel like it, but definitely very nice. I'm gonna upgrade at 3 out of 5. Would I put him up here? Probably. Yeah. All right. Let's look at Cynthia. Order Cynthia is a bit different, I feel, right? A bit different. She really has all her stuff at 1 out of 5. You know, your max defense is at 1 out of 5. Your, you know, your Bior spheres at 1 out of 5. Your Sinnoh Flag pairs at 1 out of 5, right? These are all just like basic stuff on her kit, and that's most of her good stuff, right? The fighting zone stuff. Did she get better at 2 out of 5? Yeah, I mean, you got Triage Tank, get some extra potion stuff, which is neat, but I don't feel like her 2 out of 5 stuff is really that big of a deal. And then her 3 out of 5 stuff, again, the other half of the potion stuff, Paralysis is neat. They're not bad. Free Sync for all, that's good, right? Vacuum Wake Focus Group is good, right? But I don't feel like you really need it. So I'd say fine at 1 out of 5, but would really like 3 out of 5, I guess. The only like real big one I feel is like Focus Group 9 that turns her into a crit buffer. But also, like, if you look at like the teams that she runs with, generally it's not like the biggest deal in the world if you don't have it. So I feel like she's more of a alright at 1 out of 5. And it's better at 3 out of 5, but it's not like absolutely necessary. So alright, that's the supports, I suppose. Moving on to I guess these are what, strikers, right? So alright, starting with Sonya over here. Let me just quickly switch over. Alright, here we go. SC Sonya. Is she a good damage dealer at 1 out of 5? She's alright. She has her multipliers and stuff. But the really great thing I do think that SC Sonya brings to the table is her defense debuffs. And that is only at 3 out of 5, right? Defense Crusher 9. I feel like that's a big one. You have your Haymaker, that's big. Fierce Brawn is big, right, in terms of multipliers. So I do feel like she is a attack plus 30. She's a pretty big 3 out of 5 sort of striker, which you don't see too often, right? But I definitely put her in there. Let's move on to Giovanni over here. Giovanni, I feel like he is more of a unit that you get most of your stuff at 1 out of 5. You do get some good stuff at 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5. For example, your Poison Jab and Iron Tail stuff. Right, I mean, it's not like a lot, but like it's nice to have. But I'd say mainly Poison Jab you get more at 2 out of 5, and 3 out of 5, right, with Furious Brawn. You have Haymaker at 3 out of 5, which is your Sync Nuke, right? I don't really feel like anything else is like that big of a deal. You have Surging Sand at 2 out of 5. I feel like it really depends on what you're trying to use him for. If you're really just using him for like ground type damage, 1 out of 5 is enough. If you're trying to use him for poison type damage, though, you want at least 2 out of 5. 3 out of 5 would be better, right? So, yeah, or steel type damage. It really depends on what you're trying to use them for. So, let's go with, yeah, because I feel like if you want him to use for poison type damage, again, 3 out of 5 is the best, but you want at least 2 out of 5, right? So let's go with at least 2 out of 5, but gets much better at 3 out of 5, right? Yeah, he does have Sync Nuke as well at 3 out of 5, but I don't feel like that's like a huge part of this like unit, right? It's good, but yeah. Let's see, Lugia. This guy is either, if you want to sync with him, you want 3 out of 5, right? Otherwise, he has nothing on his grid outside of his sync stuff, right? He really doesn't have much. So it's really, do you want to sync with him? If the answer is yes, then go 3 out of 5. If you don't, if you want to sync with your EX support or sync with Anni Skyla, which are both really, really good options, then you don't really need him at 3 out of 5, right? Because you do have, like, Interference Sync 5 over here. You have, what, Shower Power over here. So it's really not that much other stuff. So I do feel like he's definitely fine at 1 out of 5, right? But if you do want 3 out of 5, that's alright, too. You get a lot of sync stuff, which is not bad, but also, like, not the biggest deal in the world, I feel. So, that's Lugia, I guess. Moving on. Emmett, right? Emmett. So, Emmett, you have a lot of nice things at higher multipliers, right? I don't feel like it's the biggest deal in the world, but what I do think is a decently large deal. Well, actually, no, I take that back. It really depends on what you run him with, right? If you run him with, like, units that really can max out both his defense and physical attack, then stuff like Berserker 1 or Shielding Strikes is actually not that big of a deal. But, again, it really depends on your team, right? It depends on your team. But, yeah, in terms of, like, what you have, 2 out of 5, Bronze Sync 2, I don't think that's like that. It's only 20%. It's really not that much worth it to, you know, go into one with just like that, right? What else? You have 3 out of 5. You have Tough Sync 3, which is not that much. I mean, once you do add them up, it's a decent amount, but I don't feel like it's a huge deal overall. Sync freebies, whatever. Again, this really depends. If you hit, like, for example, if you're running like Sonya Yamper or like a Fall Caitlyn or whatever, like, you genuinely don't need this stuff, right? As good as it looks. Tough Cookie is definitely nice, though. Tough Cookie is definitely nice. So it's more of a, he's fine at 1 out of 5, but, you know, 3 out of, if you could get him to 3 out of 5, then that's pretty cool. Moving on to Ash. Let's see, where is, there's Ash Ketchum. And so 1 out of 5 Ash. you get basically all you have. Like, your buddy moves at 1 out of 5, which is enough to, like, one-shot, like, most things, like, in the game. So, is it that big of a deal to get the 3 out of 5? Not really. And if you do look at his 3 out of 5 stuff, it is mostly his sync nuke, which I'm not even a huge fan of. Like, it's not a bad nuke. It's just that, like, there's better units to really sync with, whether it's your EX support. Like, an EX support boosted B Thunderbolt is just insane, right? Or you could, like, sync with, like, Red if you have him, Thunderbolt Red, right? As for the other stuff, this is, like, not really the best. This thing is whatever, right? And then again, this is just sync stuff, right? Which is not bad multipliers. These are not bad multipliers, but yeah, I feel like he's definitely fine at 1 out of 5. But you know, if you want 3 out of 5, you get some solid stuff there as well. Moving on to the Summer N. So this Summer N has some good stuff, right? Definitely has some good stuff. You have Obscuring Power at 3 out of 5. You have Furious Brain at 3 out of 5. Doesn't have too much at 1 out of 5 yet, or not at 1 out of 2 out of 5. You have like Catalyst, which is neat, but not a huge deal, I feel. You do have your sync stuff at 3 out of 5 as well. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the sync personally, but you know, if you want to go with that, that's fine too. But yeah, I'd say he's a really, really nice 3 out of 5 unit. Do you really need him for a 3 out of 5? I wouldn't say you absolutely need him, right? Like in comparison to like something like, I don't know, like a Cynthia or whatever, right? Cynthia, like you really, really, really need her at 3 out of 5. You don't really need him at 3 out of 5, but I feel like it, like this is 60%, man. This is 60% extra damage, which is a lot, which is a lot. But should we really, like, do you really need to have to 3 out of 5 a unit just for 6% extra multipliers? I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like it's a yes. 60% is a lot, bro. 60% is not, you know, peanuts. But yeah, but like if you want to say, oh, is he fine at 1 out of 5? He's definitely fine at 1 out of 5, right? But yeah, 3 out of 5 would be really, really freaking nice. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk a bit about the text here. So, let's go with Ingo first. Whoa, didn't mean to search up special attack +5. Where's Ingo? Well, he's in the tech section. So let's switch over tech. And all right, let's go Ingo over here. Ingo. Oh. Okay, if you want him just to set bug zone, 1 out of 5 is sufficient enough. But like the rest of his kit is just complete garbage, right? Great thing about him is, especially if you're trying to run him with something like an Emmett or Noland, even better. But is at 3 out of 5, you get stuff like Defense Crush 9, which you already do have that one, but that turns into like -1 per turn, into like -2 per turn. Three quick attacks, which is all you get, by the way. Only 3 MP. Unless you get the MP refresh on quick attack, right? 3 MP is enough for -6 physical defense on your opponent, which I feel is a big deal. On top of that, you also have stuff like Blind Spot for your sync, Bob and Weave. Not a huge fan, just because his DPS is very, very unreliable, but you know, it's something, I guess, right? So MP refresh on Bug Wish as well, which is pretty big. Relentless. I would say he's a pretty. You don't need him at 3 out of 5, right? Because like unlike Iris, like Iris is like a completely different unit from 1 out of 5 at 3 out of 5. Although I'd say he's pretty different too, but like his bare minimum function as a bug zone setter is fulfillable at 1 out of 5. So I'd say that, yeah, but like 3 out of 5 really does get you like so much different. And you know what? No. Let's just get him 3 out of 5, bro. Get him 3 out of 5. The extra defense debuff, even though it's only 1 extra, but it's so good. It is so good. And then this nuke is very, very powerful as well, especially since bug types don't really have that many great nukers, right? So, like if you're running a bug team, like you better want to sync with this guy, man. He is really, really good in terms of syncing. So, plus MP refresh, bro. Yeah, no. We're putting 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, your guy. All right. Let's see. Dojo Gloria. So, as a defense debuffer, right? As a defense debuffer, totally fine at 1 out of 5, right? Even, you know, the extra damage, she's not bad there either. But, you know, you do get more stuff, right? 2 out of 5, you get aggravation on Iron Head if you're running Iron Head Doja Glory, which, by the way, very, very powerful. People overlook Iron Head Doja Glory. Iron Head Doja Glory is really freaking good. Also really, really nice. But you do get a lot of stuff at 3 out of 5. You're Relentless, Insult to Injury, all your Sync Nuke stuff. Tripping Strike as a speed debuffer, right? -3 speed on every Surging Strike hit as well, right? Which helps so many units that have either Cakewalk or Hunter's Instinct. I feel like it's a huge deal, man. I feel like it's a really, really big deal. Is it the end of the world if you don't have a 3 out of 5? No. But it's really, 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 really nice to have. But generally, I'd say, yeah, more of this category, right? She's really, really powerful already at 1 out of 5. 3 out of 5 is just extra, but this is some really, really good extra. It unlocks so many potential for so many different units. It's insane, right? Like all the other stuff, the Sync Nuke stuff is cool and all, but I feel like that's really, really big. So yeah, definitely fine at 1 out of 5 for her basic function, but would really, really want 3 out of 5, I'd say. Alright, moving on to Karina. Karina over here. She does what she does at 1 out of 5 in terms of doing damage, but she is so much better. Like, if you want to, like, usability-wise, so much better later on, right? If you do have, whether it's 2 out of 5 with Sync Reload, or 3 out of 5 with Shadow Punch hit reload, right? Because once you run out of Spectral Thief, it's not like your Shadow Punch damage is bad. It's actually pretty decent, but Spectral Thief damage is insanely powerful, right? I would say you at least want 2 out of 5 so you get Sync Reload. So you at least get 1 Spectral Thief per cycle, which is also very, very important, especially if you're trying to use that Spectral Thief right before you sync. So you could take out any like extra stat buffs that the opponent have, so you could actually get your Tekken 8 in there. So at least 2 out of 5, I'd say. At least get her at 2 out of 5. Yeah. Wants 2 out of 5, but gets much better at 3 out of 5. I feel like that's a decent description there. Moving on to Blaziken. She does her job at 1 out of 5 pretty well, right? In terms of big damage healer, as a defense debuffer, right? So, yeah, she's fine at, 1 out of 5. She does get her big nuke multipliers and stuff at 3 out of 5. Inertia, Cakewalk, Insult to Injury. That's not a nuke multiplier, but that's a good multiplier, right? Adrenaline. She has a lot of great stuff at 3 out of 5. Even at like 2 out of 5, right? Fast Track 9 is solid too. But yeah, she's completely, capable at 1 out of 5, but 3 out of 5 would be very, very nice. SS Lyra. You could just close your eyes and, Grassy Turn, Grassy Glide and win, okay? Yeah. Does she get a lot of good stuff at 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 5? She does. 2 out of 5, she actually does get, like, the entry stuff, which is definitely nice. But your most of your big stuff is at 3 out of 5. Whether it's, like, Power Play, Stationary Target for your sync, Adrenaline for, not having to quad Q, Synergy for some extra damage, MP Refresh on Grassy Terrain, which is pretty huge, right? Defense Crush, Mind Games. But I don't think it's really necessary. Like, it's good. These are all good things, right? It's not really necessary. Even, like, MP Refresh on Grassy Terrain, like, it's a Lyra team. Like, you're not gonna lose. as long as you like really focus and try to flinch everyone. Unless it's like stage you can't flinch, right? But like on stage you can flinch. As long as you pay enough attention and like you really want to win, you will win. Okay, with 1 out of 5 Lyra, she's fine at 1 out of 5. All right. But Bead over here. Bead is weird. You do get most of your stuff at 1 out of 5. Pretty like well. You have some slightly uninteresting, but like also cool stuff at 2 out of 5, like a Gobsmack or Group Therapy, but ultimately not like a huge deal. 3 out of 5, you get Confusion Synergy 9, which is a huge multiplier. Hard Knocks 9, which is a decent debuff thing. right? And then you have your max move plus 100s. Obviously, you have Fuzzy Strike 5, Stupefire 5, whatever, right? I don't know. I feel like 1 out of 5 is good enough. I feel like 1 out of 5 is good enough. Damage, you definitely want 3 out of 5 if you want to, you know, do damage with Bead. But 1 out of 5 for, like, just the debuffing shenanigans or setting terrain or setting sun, all that stuff. 1 out of 5 is fine. Moving on to Red and Pikachu. Red and Pikachu over here. You have your Master Passive at base. You have Red's Fighting Spirit at base. You have B-Vault Tackle at base. You have Electric Trainer at base. You really don't need the 3 out of 5. Is the 3 out of 5 good? Yes, it is very, very good. You have, you know, your Sync Nuke stuff, right? Whether it's Static Shock, Cakewalk, Haymaker. You do have all your nuke stuff at 3 out of 5. But who cares? He's good enough without the nuke. So there is that. Moving on to Shaman. Shaman. So, alright. What can we do over here? So, Shuddering Snarl is at 1 out of 5, right? On roll is 1 out of 5. It's not guaranteed, but it's pretty much there, right? It's 80% on Seed Flare for -2 special defense. So, if you're, like, mostly using her for, like, a debuffer, 1 out of 5 is sufficient. If you also do want to use her as a nuker, it's a 3 out of 5 thing. Again, very, very similar to the likes of SS May and Dojo Gloria. You do get that extra Mind Games 9 at 3 out of 5, which makes it, you know, -3 special defense per hit instead of -2, which is pretty big. But again, sufficiently enough at 1 out of 5, I feel. But 3 out of 5 would be definitely really, really nice. So, anyways, alright, that's this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoyed, guys. Link in the comments down below. Again, there's no, like, hard rule over here. It really depends on your personal perspective of what you want. Do you think that powering up the stronger units are more worth it, or do you think powering up weaker units to make them slightly better, right? Is that more worth it, right? So, again, in terms of the stronger, weaker units, just check the, like, tier list overall, right, for the order. People have different perspectives on this, and obviously, go with the ones you need, right? If you're like good on like water damage and you like need like more, I don't know, flying, then it's all up to you, right? I mean, I don't have to say this every single time, but I do because people miss the point. This, again, just a general guide of in terms of like how many copies I personally think in my opinion, as it is called, how many copies you want for them to function for most of the time. But again, it's really up to you, your box, your units, right? I mean, I can't really tell you, right, what you have, all that stuff in consideration. And again, some people think it's better to power up the stronger units. Some people think it's better to power up weaker units. So it really depends on you, right? So anyways, have fun, folks, and I'll see you guys in the next one then.